What's up everyone? This is Miss Peer Editor, and today I'm showing you how to analyze the structure, poetic devices, and meaning of any sonnet step by step by annotating a real sonnet. So let's get started. There are many types of sonnets, but one of the most popular ones is the Shakespearean sonnet. This type consists of 14 lines in total, and it's broken up into 3 quatrains, or 3 stanzas with 4 lines each, and a couplet at the end, which is a stanza that consists of only 2 lines. Shakespearean sonnets usually follow this A-B, C-D, C-D rhyme scheme. This means that the last words of the first and third lines rhyme, the second and fourth lines rhyme, and so on and so forth. Shakespearean sonnets follow a specific meter, iambic pentameter. Therefore, each line contains 5 iambs, and 1 iamb is 1 unstressed syllable plus 1 stressed syllable. One of Shakespeare's most well-known sonnets is Sonnet 18, which contains this famous first line, "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" The bold, underlined portions of this line are the stressed syllables, and I've broken the sentence into its 5 iambs. If you were to read this line stressing the appropriate syllables, it would sound like this: "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" Another popular type of sonnet is the Petrarchan sonnet, which is also 14 lines long. This consists of an octave, or one stanza with 8 lines, followed by a sestet, or a stanza with 6 lines. The octave follows the ABBA rhyme scheme, whereas the sestet can follow different rhyme schemes. You'll usually see a pattern such as CD, 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 or CDE, CDE, but this can vary widely. Petrarchan sonnets also follow iambic pentameter. So ultimately, what makes a sonnet is the fact that it's 14 lines, it follows iambic pentameter, and it usually discusses the topic of love. Sonnets follow a consistent rhyme scheme, but the actual pattern can be quite different for each poem. Today we'll be analyzing the sonnet-ballad, a poem by Gwendolyn Brooks that was part of her collection titled Annie Allen. So Gwendolyn Brooks actually combines 2 forms of poetry, sonnets and ballads, in this unique poem, but we're just going to focus on the sonnet aspect today. Take a minute or two to pause this video and read over this poem so you can think about your own points of analysis. Okay, I assume that you've paused this video, so let's start analyzing the structure. As you can see, it follows an ABAB, BC, DE, AA rhyme scheme. So this rhyme scheme is distinct because the last 2 lines rhyme with the first and third lines, and this creates an echoing effect. The poem is split up into 3 quatrains and 1 couplet, so it's similar in structure to Shakespearean sonnets. It also adheres to iambic pentameter. I've underlined the stress syllables in the first line. This meter establishes a steady rhythm, giving the poem a sing-song quality. Gwendolyn Brooks uses enjambment, which is the continuation of a sentence or thought beyond a single line. And this technique contributes to the conversational nature of the poem overall. Let's take a look at the tone and diction of this poem. So the tone, or the speaker's attitude, is hopeless and forlorn, and this comes across in the very first line, which is a question that sounds pleading and very desperate. Words such as lamenting and phrases such as "he won't be coming back here anymore" show how desolate and abandoned the speaker really feels about her lover's departure. And the diction is quite impassioned and poignant because it's meant to evoke sadness in the reader. And she uses words such as heart and specific words to describe death itself. And these word choices really show how emotional the speaker feels, and that is the overall effect that she's trying to create by using words that are associated with strong feelings. Now let's dig deeper into the stylistic choices and meaning of this poem. The speaker starts off the poem by asking her mother a question. showing that this whole poem is pretty much a monologue addressed to her mother. She then uses the ambiguous word they to describe the entity who took her lover off to war. We don't know who they refers to. It could be government officials who drafted her lover, maybe friends who convinced him to enlist, or maybe the lover himself wanted to go. We don't really know. But this word choice suggests that some sort of larger force is taking the lover away, and maybe he doesn't know exactly what he's getting into. The next line includes alliteration, since the words left and lamenting both start with the consonant L. These liquid consonants create a languishing effect, implying that the speaker is spiraling into despair. To add to this effect, she employs a metaphor to compare her heart to an empty cup. And this image is memorable because it depicts the loneliness and emptiness the speaker feels. It's almost as if she has no need for her heart, meaning her emotions or her feelings, not her physical heart, because her lover is gone. Later, the speaker remembers her lover walking grandly out of the door, and her use of the adverb grandly illustrates her lover's confidence and sense of purpose. The lover feels important and perhaps even adventurous, knowing that he's joining a greater cause. But the speaker feels very differently. After she says that her sweet love would have to be untrue, she repeats that phrase in the next line to emphasize how sure she is that her lover will be unfaithful to her. But he's not going to cheat on her with another person. He's going to cheat on her with death itself when he's off to war. The speaker employs consonants or repeats a hard C consonant, demonstrating her own bitter or resentful attitude towards death, using the words coquettish and court. So these two highlighted lines next personify death as a flirtatious person who seeks to charm the speaker's lover. By describing death with personality traits such as impudent, possessive, and strange, the speaker is creating a character who embodies death. And that character is oddly beautiful, even though we wouldn't typically associate death with beauty. This shows how deceptive and manipulative death can be, since it compels even hard men or steadfast men to change. The allurement of death transforms the lover, who is initially very sure of himself, to an unsure, nervous person. The dash in the middle of this line creates a pause, mimicking the lover's own hesitation. When the speaker says that her lover will be the one who stammers yes, this suggests that death will offer a proposal, like a proposal of marriage, to her lover, and her lover won't be able to resist. This will probably feel like a betrayal because the speaker herself may have anticipated that her lover was going to propose to her, or maybe even the other way around. The last line, "O mother, mother, where is happiness?" repeats the sonnet's first line, making the poem come full circle and echoing the hopeless tone established at the very beginning. Poems ultimately convey themes or larger universal ideas about the human experience. So let's think about three key themes that are depicted in this poem. The first surrounds the idea of loneliness. Creating skepticism and doubt, loneliness makes people question whether their loved ones will ever return. And this theme statement comes across in this poem because the speaker herself knows that although the war will end, she feels that her lover will not truly return or be faithful to her. And although he may return physically, he may return as a completely different person. A second idea surrounds war and relationships. Wars can fray or shatter relationships because soldiers often experience traumatic events and struggle to readjust to civilian life. And you can see in this poem the different feelings of those involved in a relationship. Although it's told from the perspective of a person who has been left behind at home and who's waiting for her lover to return, this poem also prompts us to think about how the lover himself might be feeling. And lastly, the idea of death is definitely present in this poem. Although people usually fear death, death itself can be alluring because it seems to offer an escape from life's challenges. And this is ultimately what the speaker is afraid of. She's afraid that her lover will be so embattled during the war and so perhaps exhausted physically and mentally that death itself may become alluring. In the comments below, let me know what other themes and poetic devices you found in this sonnet. And remember to like, subscribe, and tap the bell to receive notifications whenever I make a new video. Stay tuned for future poetry tutorials, and I'll see you next time.